Hey, everybody, it's Dave Palet, Josh Palet, Mario Herron. Welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast, courtesy of Odyssey. We're going to start off with a guest right away, Josh. We're going to start off with Rob Brender from Sirius XM Radio. He does a great job in Los Angeles covering the Los Angeles Chargers. He's there on a regular basis, and he's been there since day one, since the Chargers made the move in 2017 from San Diego to Los Angeles. Rob, really appreciate your time on this afternoon as we get ready for the Chargers game on Monday night against the Denver Broncos. First of all, I want to ask you about this team, and the word I'm going to use, because I'm going to steal it from my son, is the word identity. This is somewhere where Josh made the point long ago, and he goes, this team doesn't have an identity. And after he said that, it's been sticking in my head of wondering what this team is, and I think they're starting to find it. When you look at this Charger team, what comes to mind first?
Quarterback. They've got the quarterback. I mean, that's the first thing that I look for really in an NFL team. And, you know, you and I, having watched the Chargers side by side there all those years at the soccer stadium, saw a quarterback who was at the end of a great run. And that was cool. I mean, that was a potential Hall of Fame player, but he was clearly on the way out. And now you're seeing the growth of a quarterback from the beginning. And I really appreciate that. So every time I go to the game, that's what I look forward to the most is what is Justin Herbert going to do? You know, if he has a big game for me, they can win any week against pretty much any opponent. But, you know, we've seen in the past where I think there were some shortcomings on defense, and I think that's certainly going to be the case again this year, dealing with the Bosa injury specifically and how soon can they get him back. He's a big part of their identity. We know that on the defensive side. And he and Khalil Mack, we saw in the first game, looked really great as a tandem. Mack had a couple of sacks week one against the Raiders. And without him, it's clearly not going to be the same defensive group. But I think that they are establishing an offensive identity. I love seeing it. Mike Williams has really stepped up to me and become one of the premier weapons on the outside, I think, in the league. And he's got the quarterback to get him the ball. Now, if you can get Keenan Allen 100% healthy from that hamstring and get him on the field where you have another weapon there on the other side to really loosen things up, I think Williams is going to have even bigger games. And I think the running game with Austin Eckler is going to open up even more. So the identity for me is, again, it's all centered around that quarterback. You keep him healthy. Forget that rib injury aside. He's played through, which is amazing. But you keep him healthy, you keep him on the field, they can win a lot of games.
Every NFL season, there's tons of surprises. This season's no different. With the Chargers, I was a little bit surprised how the offense seemed to stall when Keenan Allen got hurt. Were you surprised at all that without Keenan Allen on the field, it seemed like the offense kind of didn't have an identity?
Yeah, you know, I don't know about surprise. He's such a great weapon for them. You guys know. I mean, he's the go-to guy for as exciting and as flashy as Williams is on the outside. He could have these monster games, go for well over 100 yards and catch a couple of touchdown passes. He's the flashy guy, but Allen to me is the stability of the offense, that he's the guy that is the automatic check down. If he's not the number one wide receiver in every pattern, he is the next guy that is in the quarterback's vision. So I think without him, you know, I was trying to think of other teams. If you were to take away, you know, Cooper Kupp from the Rams, they'd stall offensively. Now, maybe that's not the best example because Cooper's, you know, elite. And at this point, Allen's not quite at that level. But you look around the league for a number 2 wide receiver. You take a number 2 wide receiver off of any team, and it's going to be really, really tough. But I think Herbert relies on him so much. He's generally so durable. Before this year, before the hamstring and then re-aggravating it, he's been so durable. He's been on the field almost every single game since I came out to L.A. And, you know, again, I think Herbert knows he's the safety valve. Anytime there's an issue, he's going to check down and look for Allen. So I think that's really affected how much they've opened up the rest of the offense. I've been a little disappointed by some of those other guys like Guyton. I thought would have a bigger year so far. He hasn't really done a whole lot. And so maybe, you know, we need some of those number 3 and 4 wide receivers, the guys on the depth chart, to step up a little bit more. But clearly he's such a huge part of that offense, Josh. I don't think there's many teams where you look around the league as a 1A, referring to him as number 2 receiver is probably a stretch, a 1A type receiver for them or 1B. Man, you lose a guy like that, it's really, really tough, really tough.
You know, it's so funny that you just said as far as guys stepping up. I think someone on this show picks Joshua Palmer once a week to be the star of the game, you know, and then it, of course, doesn't happen, and we'd all just hang our heads and go, stop picking Joshua Palmer. Brandon Staley, though, I want to ask you about him because we've been criticized for maybe being a little too aggressive towards him. We would get frustrated with him. We got frustrated with him even with a victory last week against the Browns. It seemed like last year everybody was all in, that the fans loved going for it on fourth down. And now it seems like, not only are the fans a little bit tired of it, Telesco seems like he had a talk with them in the offseason. And then all of a sudden you have Keenan Allen, who's going on social media, who's not even available to play, taking shots at him. What is it like with Brandon Staley on a regular basis?
I've really not gotten to know Brandon too well, but I will say this, and hearing all the different stuff around the area, I think people think he's a great offensive mind. The aggressiveness, though, or the level of aggressiveness that he's shown can be a little bit over the top. I mean, I'm a fan. I know the analytics will tell you right away going forward on fourth down makes sense in almost every situation that he's picked so far. But as a fan, when you see it over and over again not work, I think you do get tired of it. And I think you get concerned that you've got this guy that's ultra aggressive and you really want a guy that's going to be a little bit in terms of certain situations. You want a guy that's going to hold back a little bit and know when it's time to give up and punt. So, there's occasions where I think it's great to see. And I do think he's a wonderful offensive mind. And I actually think he's the right coach for this quarterback. It seems like they have a good relationship. I've heard nothing but great things about the guy in terms of the way the team responds to him. So I think he's here for the long haul. What was the play in Cleveland where he went for it on fourth down that didn't work late? Trying to remember back now to last week, but
it was 4th and 2 on their own 45, and the
That's
Browns
right.
were basically a few yards away from winning the game on a field goal.
Right, and they missed the field goal late, right?
Yeah.
So that's so situated. Well, and thank goodness, because Cleveland's just always going to Cleveland. I mean, that's the way it goes. You're going to miss a kick. And maybe that was part of the thinking, right? And I don't know, but maybe it was where they're like, Browns don't have any consistent kickers anyway. We'll just take our chances and roll the dice here. And it worked out, obviously, for them in the end. But that was one of those where you just kind of scratch your head and think, just kick the ball, man. Relax, kick the ball.
Yeah, so defensively, J.C. Jackson has been banged up this season. Last game, he was targeted multiple times. It seemed like every time he was targeted, they caught the ball on him. Has there been any word within the facility, even if he's 100%? Because when we watch the games, it seems like he's not the same J.C. Jackson that we remember from the Patriots.
Totally with you. I thought he looked good early in the season. The first couple of games that I watched, I actually was really impressed by him. And there was a time they called out his name, and the guy who was sitting next to me in the press box, Mark Myers, who obviously I think you guys might both know, but Mark, he's been doing Charger games now for as long as I have. And Mark said to me, "Wait, J.C. Jackson from the Patriots plays for this team?" I said, "Yeah." It's the offseason. Come on, man. But no, you're right. He hasn't really been the same guy yet the last couple of weeks. And again, you're seeing a guy sort of on the backside of his career, I think, at this point. So we'll see if he could step up. But I will say this, and it kind of goes back to Bosa. Without Bosa and without having that twin attack on the outside from your pass rushers with Khalil Mack, they're losing some of that pressure. They're not getting the same kind of pressure. I'm sure you guys have noticed this too. It's not the same kind of pressure that we saw the first couple of weeks of the season before Bosa got hurt. And so now you're giving a little more time to those quarterbacks, and they can pick you apart a little bit more. And so, it kind of rolls downhill. You lose a big piece up front, and it affects everybody on the back end as well. And they're certainly going to have to pick it up because the defense, you give up, 28 to Cleveland, if I recall. And then they laid the egg, of course, against Jacksonville before that. I think they gave up 31 in that game to a pretty mediocre offensive team. So clearly everybody on the defensive end needs to pick it up with Bosa out.
You and I obviously worked together when Derwin James made his debut. And right away, you and I were saying, man, this guy is amazing. And a matter of fact, I know you share the same opinion with me. Eventually, we're going to see this guy win an NFL Defensive Player of the Year award. Yep. Derwin James, where is that? I mean, we understand the injuries have kind of held his career back a little bit. But when you see him in person on a regular basis, what do you see out of Derwin James?
He's ridiculously talented. I mean, you saw the same thing I did. And again, we were there when he debuted. I think it may have been the same year as Eddie Jackson. Was it the same year as Eddie? Or was Eddie a year or so after that? I can't recall. But it's right.
Josh will know. Yeah, Josh played with Eddie. Josh will know.
That's right.
I believe it's the same year.
I think it was the same year. But I remember vividly talking to you in the press box because, as you know, I've been a fan of the Bears since I was a little kid. And watched some Bears action, and at that point, Eddie looked like he was going to be the next coming. And I remember there was some kind of comparison that we were talking about with, man, we're seeing two of the best defensive back safeties in the league coming up at the same time. And Eddie had all those interceptions that first year, and then he fell off his next year. And I don't think it was because of injuries. I think it was just some poor play. And then he's picked it up again so far this season, where he's looked really, really good a couple of years later now. And I think it's been kind of the same with Derwin, except to your point, I think injuries have played a major factor here and been a major role in his sort of mediocre-ish play over the last year or so. He looks good to me, though, as far as just being still a physical specimen. See the guy in the field, you're like, man, that guy can make a play anytime he wants to. But to your point and to your question, I'm a little disappointed so far. I don't know how you guys feel. Like I thought we would see a few more picks. I thought we would see maybe a few more big hits. Sometimes you'll see like flashes of complete electric play, and then sort of a lull where you don't hear the guy's name called for the next, 5-6 minutes. You're like, man, you would want to see him get in on that play or this play. So maybe, I don't know if it's fair to say disappointed yet, but maybe sort of a little underwhelmed, probably a better way to put it. A little bit.
Derwin James drafted in 2018, Eddie Jackson 2017. That's my bad. Going around the league, the Chargers and the Chiefs. I see the Chiefs as the big rival in the AFC West. Obviously, the Broncos and Raiders have been disappointing. We have the Broncos this Monday. Are you surprised how the AFC West has been disappointing for the most part besides the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, I think everybody expected more out of Denver, but it's so weird, guys. Russell Wilson looks like he's fried right now, and I hope I'm wrong, and I'm sure everybody
I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, right. He just looks like a different dude. He looks like it's like, he's changed cities, and all of a sudden they gave him the big contract. Right now, that contract looks like an abomination. Like that's going to crush the franchise potentially for the next, what are they tied to him? 5 more years at the minimum, I believe.
Fantastic.
Killer. And all the pieces that they gave up and the picks that they gave up to get this guy. And you watch him those first few weeks. Now, some of it could also be, you're working Nathaniel Hackett, a first-year head coach, and it seems like some of the play calling has just been atrocious. But that's not all on the play calling. Like some of the execution, especially in the red zone, those first few weeks was beyond. You're wondering, what is this guy thinking? What kind of play is he calling? And I think part of that is on Russell, though, not completing passes, not putting himself in a position to complete passes, and the receivers not doing enough maybe. But yeah, I guess outside of Kansas City, I'm not sure anybody other than the Chargers has a real chance in that division at this point. Yes, the Raiders have played a little bit better, and maybe that was a process with a new head coach there as well to try to just get some more stability and kind of work in a new offense. Plus, you have quarterback and number one receiver, Devontae Adams, working together for the first time. As long as he's not going to push people, he should be on the field every week, putting up good numbers. And he did put up good numbers against the Chargers in his first game here at over 100 yards receiving. So maybe that's not part of it with them, but it just seems like it's sort of a feeling out process with the head coach. So we'll see if I think the Raiders are going to steadily improve. I still think there's a lot of talent on that roster. I think they're going to get better and better week to week. But the Chargers, I'm trying to think of another team that would surprise me if they won the division. Kansas City is just far and away superior to everybody in that division. The things they do, you can lose the cheetah on the outside and have an offense that didn't skip a beat. Literally, you have the best quarterback I've ever seen, the most mobile, creative, strong-armed quarterback. I mean, I don't think Mahomes, there's not one thing on the field he can't do. So yeah, dethroning the Chiefs is going to be really, really, really tough. But Denver, man, so I'm going to see Denver on Monday, to your point, they're coming down here. I'm looking forward to the train wreck, to be honest with you. I don't want to see, and this is so bad to say because I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't root against Denver, but I sort of like controversy and I like being in the middle of it. Yeah. I don't remember, Dave, where it was, and you may have been with me. We were some game at the old stadium, and I think you probably were there. Some coach, I'm trying to remember now, got fired the day we were there. Like there were rumors
Yeah,
swirling.
it was Jack Del Rio got fired right in the hallway when we were standing there, and they fired him right before he addressed the media. And you and I were standing right next to him, and he looked at us, and he's like, "I just got fired." And then he'd go tell the rest of the media, "I just got fired."
Yes, I remember it. That's so yeah. So that was. I mean, okay. Again, this isn't anything against any other team, but that was so cool just to like be in the middle of the storm where you're like, oh my God, this dude just got fired. Like the changing of the guard right in front of us. Now they're not going to hack it yet or anything like that, but you're watching this like just downward spiral right now for that team, and to be kind of in the middle of it on Monday, I'm kind of looking forward to that,
that's awesome.
Weird, and I feel bad saying it, but it's true.
That's awesome. Rob, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. It's great checking in with you, my friend, and of course, great seeing you.
Yeah, great to see you guys. And I was talking to you yesterday and chatting back and forth with all your old peeps up in San Diego who came up for the Dodger game, which I was covering. So it's cool to get to talk about you. You know, you popped into my mind and then asking me to do this. It was really cool. And good to see you too, Josh. I didn't even know you were in Nashville now. So hope all works out there, and we'll talk soon.
Good deal. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. That's
right,
Rob Brender right there from Sirius XM Radio joining us, covers the Chargers every single week, and really good guy, does a lot of stuff for Sirius XM. Of course, the baseball guy, as a lot of people have heard him, hockey guy, and has done a great job doing the Chargers and the Rams up there as well. But I appreciate his insight. You know, it's kind of funny, you know, Josh, as Mario I know is going to join us in a second. There's Mario right there. When you look at, you know, I don't know about you guys, because we obviously talk 3 times a week doing these shows on the Bolt City podcast. And you wonder, do we see things the right way? At least I do. And I'm like, are we all just, hey, on the same page? Are we, you know, if we're going to argue, we're going to tell each other you're crazy, or as Josh called me a psychopath a couple of weeks ago. At least it's a check to see if you're in the right frame of mind. After talking with Rob, I feel like we're on the same page, the correct page as far as how we're viewing this team. I don't think we're crazy.
No, I don't think we're crazy at all. I think we all expect the team to be good no matter who's out. And maybe it's just us because we're biased Charger fans, and Rob because he covers the Chargers. But when a guy like Keenan Allen falls down, you expect a guy like Mike Williams to stand up, which he has some of the time. But we're not crazy. We follow all the Chargers guys on Twitter. We have our own group message going. We know we're not the only people that feel this way. I actually do feel good about where the Chargers are at, though. I spoke about it last show with all the injuries that we've sustained, all the, you know, not being consistent around the, you know, offensive, defensive side of the ball. I'm happy with where we stand with our record.
Yeah, and I feel less crazy because I kind of agree with Rob. I'm looking forward to a train wreck on Monday. I think there's going to be some type, and I can't wait for it. Never root for it, but you can't tell me not a little bit excited to see one. Yeah, you know, I think we're all on the same page where Chargers are. They have faced some injuries. They have overcome it. They've had some tough bounces go their way, but at the same time, they could be in a worse spot. Second in division. Chiefs look good, but we're still early. They could take a dip, and we haven't hit our peak yet. So I feel pretty good where the Chargers are at right now.
Dude, I love the fact also that he talked about the train wreck that Russell Wilson is. Now, I know there are fans out there, including some
Whoa,
in
Dave,
Mario's
be
family that thinks
respectful.
we're
Mrs. Herron's listening.
We're a little crazy. Yeah. Well, again, I hate to say it. And look, Russell Wilson's one of those guys where you have no reason to root against him. You kind of like Seattle's way over there. That's great. You're kind of rooting for Seattle to do things, and Russell Wilson's a faithful organization. But, man, when I look at Russell Wilson, I'm thinking, dude, you got Owen Wilson from Wedding Crashers. What's a hot route? Hot route? What's that? Like, he doesn't know what the hell's going on right now. It's fantastic. Now that he's in the division, I just want to see him crash and burn. And it's just because he's the quarterback of the Broncos. Nothing else. Nothing that Russell Wilson's a jerk, or I don't like his family or anything else that he has. Hell, he has a home literally 20 miles from where I live right now. You know, he has a home everywhere, but he has a home in San Diego. And so, great. You know, as long as he's there, and I know people feel that way about the Raiders and feel that way about the Chiefs, he's the enemy, and you see him twice a year. You don't want him to have success. You're crazy to want success for the Broncos quarterback if you're a Charger fan.
Absolutely. I spoke to a giant Broncos fan today, poor guy, and he said, and I asked, my question to him was, what's up with Russell Wilson? Is it mental? Is it physical? Is he just getting older? What's the problem here? He goes, Pete Carroll. Said that's the big difference. He goes, look at Geno Smith. Geno Smith has never played better in his life except for this year. It's all Pete Carroll. Do you believe that, Mario, Dave, whichever one of you wants to go first, that it's Pete Carroll the reason for his success?
I mean, it's got to be, and I think it also goes to look at the weapons he had in Seattle too, though. You know, he had Lockett and DK Metcalf. He's going to Cortland Sutton and Jared Jeudy. Are they good receivers? Yeah, they're really good receivers, but they haven't proven anything. They haven't really been to a top standard to the other receivers in the NFL like kind of DK was or Tyler Lockett was. So I think it's that. I think Seattle was a more comfortable situation for him. I don't think Hackett is as good of a coach as people thought he was going to be. And I'm so happy, Dave, we're right. We were right on this take earlier in the season that you can't bet on a rookie year head coach. That felt so good, especially since he was coming from Green Bay. Suck at Green Bay. Piece of crap state. But yeah, I do think it comes down to like just Pete Carroll. Like he left Pete Carroll, that's a stable system. That's a good system that he was in. And Pete Carroll's kind of laughing a little bit. He caught a lot of heat for the mistakes that was going on in Seattle last year. And now he's looking back going, hey, maybe I wasn't the issue.
Pete Carroll's an interesting guy. I mean, you look at his career, he's the oldest coach in the NFL. I mean, the trivia question is always, who was the Patriots coach before Bill Belichick? Well, it was Pete Carroll, and it's one of those that makes you think, oh, wow, that's kind of nuts. And Pete Carroll, fired by the Jets, fired by the Patriots, goes to USC. When he came to USC, people did not want him, thought it was a huge mistake. It was a reach. And he had tremendous success. It was honestly the greatest show in college football for a number of years. He goes to Seattle, people thinking Malibu Pete's going to fail in Seattle. Well, he didn't. He made it to 2 Super Bowls, got blown out in one, and then of course, he won one, and then he made a horrible mistake as far as not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Should have won 2 Super Bowls, and blew it. Well, he was a defensive coach, so you think Russell Wilson an offensive coach. Pete Carroll, to me, guys, is a manager of men kind of a deal, more of the psychology game and keeping the locker room as far as where it's supposed to be. Now, Nathaniel Hackett, his world is spinning. I mean, he's seeing things as a head coach that are going a mile a minute. You have to deal with the media, and you have to deal with the trainers, and you have to deal with the front office. There's so many things that go on with him as a head coach. And you have Russell Wilson, who has more experience than you. When I look at it, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, I think Russell Wilson straight out just lost a step. And his reads are bad. I mean, Rob kind of pointed that out. We saw the last play of the game last Thursday against the Colts. He had the guy on the right wide open, refused to throw it. Like he looked like almost like a rookie quarterback that I'm going to wait till the guy on the left, I think it was Cortland Sutton, is open to go to the guy that I have more faith in. Well, it doesn't work like that in the NFL. You got to hit your open guy. You're a pro for a reason. And he completely took away what should have been a victory for the Broncos. And I'm sure Broncos radio killed him for it. But he has not looked like Russell Wilson on the Seahawks one time. He looks absolutely awful right now. And it looks like he has slipped so fast. And at what is he, 33 years old? It almost doesn't make sense when you've seen quarterbacks play in the 40s that he would slip like this mentally. He's not reacting or reading defenses the right way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Mentally, you shouldn't be slowing down. The game should be slowing down for you. You should be speeding up. Yeah, exactly. The man beater was on the right side of that play, and he looks left the entire time. It just doesn't really make much sense to me. And I don't want to talk about like mental health on this show because I have no idea what's going on in his personal life. But he just seems odd more than usual off the field. These TikToks he's making, these weird commercials he's doing, he just seems like all around he's just strange, man. Like even more than he was in Seattle. I don't know what the hell's going on. I hope the Broncos lose every freaking game, so I don't care. But from outside looking in, it is just odd.
The fact that he practices high fives.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, what the hell is that?
You guys try doing that tomorrow when you leave the house on your way to the car. Just start practicing high fives.
I'll get wrapped up in this. Dude, if I did that, my neighbors would wrap me up in a straitjacket. Yeah, just the craziest crap.
It's absurd. It's like he took the when Jimmy V would make his players cut the net at every practice. Yeah. He heard that and was like, "I'm gonna take that to a whole nother level." Like it's absurd.
It is. So let me ask you, when you look at this Bronco team coming in on Monday, okay, so the Chargers are obviously favored in this game. We'll talk about it and give our picks a little bit later in the show. But the Chargers are favored, which is fantastic because the Chargers really have a chance to do something as far as going into the bye on really being red hot, right? You have a chance of going into the bye at 5-2. And you always hate to look ahead in a short schedule, but Seattle's the next game at home the following week. And then you have a chance to rest, get healthy. Hopefully Keenan Allen's back. If he's not back against Denver, he's not back in Seattle, he's 100% after the bye week because the schedule gets extremely tough, correct? So when you think of the Denver Broncos, what is it that you think of first outside of Russell Wilson?
Defense. Their defense has been solid. They've played bad teams, really bad teams, but their defense has been pretty damn good. The first thing that jumps out to me is Bradley Chubb, if you're going to talk about one player on the defense. I know Jamari Sailor's been really good, left tackle for us, shutting down Myles Garrett, but that's their go-to guy in defense. You got to stop Bradley Chubb. But yeah, their defense has been phenomenal.
Yeah, their defense, number one passing defense in the NFL. It's absurd. Only 136.6 yards per game that they're allowing. I'm sorry, 176.6. Sorry, I was looking at a different stat. But my thing with that too, though, is the defense that good, or were you just playing really,
Bad
really
teams.
crappy defenses? Like, remember the Panthers last year? Panthers defense first 3 games was like unbelievable, but
Yeah.
they were playing, blind sisters of the school out there on the Sunday. So like, you're gonna be pretty good. The QBs they faced in their game so far this year: Geno Smith, good year, but like backup.
Still Geno Smith. Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
Geno.
Davis Mills, he had one good game, and that's probably it for his career. Jimmy G, who literally was benched, got surgery, teams wouldn't trade for, and then it's brought back on because Trey Lance got hurt. Eyeliner Derek Carr, who's we've all determined not good anymore. And then Matt Ryan, who should have retired like 4 years ago. So those are all the guys they've faced. Now you're facing Justin Herbert,
Yeah, that's a good
arguably
point.
arguably the third best quarterback in the league. Let's see how you do. Let's see if you're really that good of a passing defense going up against one of the best in the league.
It's funny. You mentioned Chubb, and we all know that the Chargers are short on receiver help right now, right? And I mean, it's kind of like Mike Williams by himself is what's happening. What makes me a little bit nervous is Surtain's great, and you go, okay, what's going to happen for the defensive backfield for the Broncos? How are they going to sit there? And they're going to sit there and key on Mike Williams. And so overall, I hope this is the breakout game. As much as we laugh about this, about Joshua Palmer, because, you keep swinging and saying, this is the game. You hope they figure out another weapon to help them out because, Russell Wilson doesn't play defense and Geno Smith doesn't play defense. So you want to make sure that you're able to put points on the scoreboard. I'm pretty confident in this game, but the thing you point out, Mario, I think it's right on, is that they're going by far against the best quarterback they've seen all year long on Monday night, meaning the Denver Broncos going against Herbert. And for Herbert, he just needs to have the weapons to take advantage of which guys are open. And I'm not worried about that. I don't want to see athletic Justin Herbert run until, we think he's 100% out there, which is at least 6 weeks after the KC game, that everything should be healed 100%. Like we know he can run, but you don't want to see it. You don't want to see him leave the pocket and keep running for the first downs and doing it with those legs because there's a major chance for an injury.
Absolutely. I think one of the surprising things about the Broncos, too, is how much they've leaned on Russell Wilson. I know Javonte Williams is out for the year. Melvin Gordon, kind of like Matt Ryan, was good like 4 years ago. He fumbles the ball, it seems like every freaking time he touches it. How would not just lock in on Russell Wilson and make Melvin Gordon beast? Or, you know what I mean? Like either one is struggling so much. You can just pick your poison. If you're the Chargers, say we're going to go after this guy, we're going to go after this guy. Neither one's really stepped up at all this year. The Broncos offense is so freaking anemic. Watching them it's like the worst brand of football I can ever imagine in the NFL. I'm so excited for this game on Monday. I really want them to beat the crap out of the Broncos because, like I mentioned last show, I cannot stand the Denver Broncos. The most annoying fans in the AFC West, worse than the Raiders, dude. I'm telling you, the Denver Bronco fans. But I would love for them to beat up on Melvin Gordon. As a Charger fan, I'm never going to get over that fumble against the Titans on the 1 yard line to win the game. But I'm excited to see the Chargers beat up on Melvin Gordon and Russell Wilson.
It's going to be ugly. It's not going to be pretty. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be an ugly game. And this is one of those games where I would almost want them to completely shut off the pass game and we just see Melvin Gordon get the ball a ton because I know he's going to fumble at least 4 times. Now we're going to get it all 4 times. We don't know. But I can tell you that it's going to get a little slippery out there. But I'm just going to say that. Russell Wilson's also 0-2 against the Chargers in his career. So a little fun fact for you if you're looking for something like that. But he has looked pretty good. 3 interceptions, though. I'm sorry, no, just 1 interception against the Chargers. So takes care of the ball. It's going to be ugly, man. If the Broncos win, they're going to win ugly. I think that's just the way it goes. I think the way that Chargers win this game is that you get on them and then you beat the crap out of them from start to finish. You don't let it get ugly. You let that offense just flame out, and then you take your time on the offensive side. Establish the run like you did last week. Give Herbert time in the pocket to make a throw. Mike Williams, let's have a good day. Keenan Allen, please, for the love of God, play and let's beat a rival. Let's beat the crap out of the TikTok Broncos. Let's get in on them a little bit.
So if you're Denver and you're coming into this game, I mean, I'm thinking we can run against the Chargers. That would be one of my points going, hey, you know what? We've seen other teams do it. We're going to try and run against the Chargers. Russell Wilson, you might say to his face, hey, man, we have faith in you, Russell. There's a reason you're here. You know, we traded a lot away for you. We believe in you. And then they got to be turning their heads and rolling their eyes at each other going, oh, my God, this guy stinks. You know, he's nowhere close to the player we thought we were getting. You know, to your point, Josh, you know, about the Melvin Gordon and the failures, if you're Melvin Gordon, you're thinking if there's one big game I want the whole year, it's in Los Angeles playing the Chargers to show them they were wrong to give up on me. Like I was supposed to be the next LT. I was supposed to be that guy. If there's one game, I know you're rolling your eyes, but don't think that's not what Melvin Gordon thinks. That's what Melvin Gordon thinks. All these running backs believe that. I'm on my way to Canton, Ohio. Come on. You're rolling your eyes at me right now, but hold on. Before you even start talking, but be honest with me now. Let's go through the guys with the biggest egos in the locker room. Cornerbacks, 1, wide receivers, 2, running backs, 3. Am I right?
100%.
Okay, so you don't think Melvin Gordon's thinking this?
No, I know he's thinking that, but the LT thing is out of his freaking mind. He couldn't even start over He couldn't even start over Monty Ball at Wisconsin. You gonna tell me he's gonna be the next LT?
Oh my gosh, that's a name from the past.
Dude, I got all of them, bro. It's concerned. I mean, you're not wrong about the Chargers' run defense. It's been bad in every game. But this is the one where you get back on track. Melvin Gordon's averaging 38.6 yards a game. You know, I know he's a backup, but still, it's not much. I'm curious to see how we go about stopping him and Russell Wilson. What would be your game plan, Mario, if you're doing the defense for the Chargers? Would you let Russell Wilson try to beat you? Would you let Melvin Gordon try to beat you? How would you go about it?
I would look at Russell Wilson and I go, okay, he has a 36.5 QBR. He only has 4 touchdown passes on the year. He has 3 interceptions. He has been playing terrible. We found out now that he has a hurt shoulder, that he got like a shot injection in to, I guess, help it. I would look at all those things and I go, we're going to make Broncos throw the ball 50 plus times tonight. That's what I would do. I would try to do that and go, I'm going to overuse that shoulder where you have to get another shot at halftime at the end of the first quarter. I want that shoulder. You can't move the next day. Now I want Russell Wilson to be completely okay. I hope for health, no, not the bad to him. But what I mean is I really want him to be overused. I would try to make sure I do that at every second of the day, just because he hasn't been playing well. I don't know where his confidence level's at, and he's hurt. He's not 100%. I'm looking at Mac going, let's get some pressure on him. I would call some blitzes on him, get him moving out of the pocket, get him a little bit uncomfortable. That's what I would do. That's how I would try to beat the Broncos. What do you think, Dave? What would be your kind of game plan if you're Brandon Staley?
You know, I'm with you. I mean, my dream would be let Russell Wilson, you know, let him cook, you know, let him throw the ball, you know, do your thing, Russell. Let's see. That like literally you want to dare him to throw the ball. I mean, you know what your weakness is defensively. You know, at the same time, the quarterback on the other side hasn't been playing well. So for me, I would love to see Russell Wilson throw the ball 50 times a game. Nathaniel Hackett, I guarantee, does not want to see him throw the ball 50 times a game. Russell Wilson, though, ego-wise, is saying, if they just let me throw the ball 50 times a game, I know I can get it back. You know, he's thinking the more I throw, the better I'm going to be, the better chance I have to shine. You don't think Russell Wilson? Come on, dude. We're talking top 10 egos in the NFL. Monday Night Football, national audience. What's the one thing they always say about Monday Night Football? Every team in the league is watching you play, because Tuesday is an off day for every team in the NFL. So everybody is done with their week. They're done with practice. They're done with their treatment on Mondays after the Sunday game. And everybody is in their house and they are watching Monday Night Football. And Russell Wilson wants to show the rest of the league, I'm still Russell Wilson. And ego gets involved. And I hope it's the worst decision of his life because of it.
Cortland Sutton averages 6 catches a game. He's their leading receiver. Jerry Jeudy only has 29 catches on the year. I'm 100% with Mario, dude. Make them throw the ball. They haven't done it all season. If it's an ugly game, like Mario said, we're going to lose. I'm telling you right now, that's what the Broncos want. If it's a good-looking game, we're having fun. If it's a good football game, you're not a football fan, you're looking, wow, this looks like not a lot of penalties and all that crap, we're going to win this game. Patrick Surtain, just stay away from him, and Bradley Chubb. Those are their 2 guys, dude. The offensive side of the ball, just block him and don't throw it to Surtain. And if you do throw it to Surtain, throw it up, because we have Mike Williams. Use his height to our advantage. Who are your players to watch, Mario, going into this game for the Chargers? Who do you want to see step up?
First, it's J.C. Jackson. It's my guy to watch. It's my guy to really step up, because The Chargers have not been very good against number one wideouts at all this year. The number one wideouts tend to have a day. Amari Cooper had 7 receptions, 76 yards, 1 touchdown. Devontae Adams, 10 receptions, 141 yards, 1 touchdown. Christian Kirk, which would be a number 2 on a lot of other teams, 6 receptions, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. J.C. Jackson, let's show up today. Sutton, younger guy, let's bang him up a little bit. Show that the top corner that you were a year before. Let's have a big game. That's my guy for the defensive side. Offensive side, I hate to repeat myself, but it's got to be Eckler. You're coming off a killer game, man, against the Browns, where you just ran all over them. I mean, they called you daddy at the end of that game. Let's do that again to your AFC rival. Let's do that right now. Let's do that on Monday Night Football. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I think he's going to come in there, show Melvin Gordon that you were never the running back of the future at all. I'm really looking for him to have a big one. I think he's going to have a big day, whether it's on the ground or through the air when they like to get him involved. I have a big feeling that he's going to have a good day and taking him for a touchdown prop later on too. Who's your guys, Dave?
Okay, so here's a couple things. You mentioned J.C. Jackson, and I really hope J.C. Jackson looks like J.C. Jackson. But the Broncos, with the receivers they have, to me, they have dangerous weapons. You know, Cortland's son, Jerry Jeudy, you always wait, I'm sure if you're a Broncos fan, waiting for Jeudy to become the player you thought you were drafting out of Alabama. But, man, J.C. Jackson has been plays in Monday night the way he's been playing all year. It could be a really long night and an embarrassing night for him. I mean, I really hope this is the game that turns it back in time of the player they thought they were getting. And I'm not willing to say he's a bust, but right now I'm willing to just say he's not 100%. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, honest to God, I hope that's what I'm hoping, because this team's not going to go far in the postseason if J.C. Jackson keeps playing the way he's playing. I'm going to go with what Rob Brender said. I'm going to go Derwin James. This is the game where Derwin gets his picks. He's going to get his picks in this game. This is a great opportunity against Russell Wilson, but I'm going Derwin. I know it sounds like the easy way out, and because you asked me before you asked Josh, I'm taking Derwin. And offensively, damn it, man, I'd love to say Joshua Palmer, but he's been a factory of disappointment for all three of us. So I'm not going to say him, but I'm going to go Gerald Everett, who had a disappointing game last week against the Browns. I think he only had 1 reception, and you expect more from the tight end position, especially knowing that Keenan Allen's not available. I think Gerald Everett gets back into the offensive scheme. So my 2 players are on the offensive side are Gerald Everett, the defensive side, Derwin James.
I mean, I'd love to see Gerald Everett get back into it. My players to watch me with Khalil Mack. I think he has 2 sacks in this game. I think he really steps up. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler too this year. I think when it's all said and done. And then offensively, Joshua Palmer. My reasoning, though, Alabama's going to beat the dog crap out of Tennessee on Saturday. He's going to be upset that his team just got embarrassed on national television. He's going to try to step up for his university and ball out on Monday. So I'm going to go Joshua Palmer has a big game. Because if you're the Broncos, why would you not key in on Mike Williams, especially if Keenan Allen's not playing? Make these other guys beat you. So I think this is a game where Joshua Palmer does need to step up. What about you, Mario, for predictions around the AFC West? Let's start with the Chargers and Broncos. What's your prediction for the score?
Okay, so I have some reasoning for my score. I'm not just spitballing. I put in some research today because I was feeling good. And I was like, I have way too much time on my hands.
By the way, do you know who came the closest last week?
I think it was like almost even. 'Cause 2 of us said the same thing.
I thought I was closer. That's why I brought it up.
I think it was. I actually do think. Who had it as a blowout? Josh, you had it as a blowout, right?
Yeah, Josh had a blowout.
Yes. I think it was. No, the guy that got the closest was our guest.
Yeah,
the guy from Cleveland.
Perfect.
Yeah, he almost
nailed it.
Yeah,
he doesn't
almost
count.
nailed it.
He doesn't
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't
Poor
matter. Okay, so for this one, Broncos have the worst red zone offense in the NFL. So they're going to get in the red zone, I think, and then they're going to go for it a couple times and not get anything. And then 3 times they're going to get field goals. So I think they score 9. Chargers, I think, score 27. And I think we scored 27. Out of the 27, we scored 20 in the first half. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And only score 7, and they get hope throughout. But they don't pull anything. So 27-9, Los Angeles Chargers beat the crap at Denver Broncos. Final score.
27-9.
I like that.
So look, here's just so people are aware too. The spread is this. It's the Chargers are favored by 4.5. Okay. The total is 45 points, I believe, in this game right now. It's 45. And it's been kind of staying that way most of the week. I think the Chargers started off as 3.5-point favorite to win up to 5 yesterday, and then it went back down to 4.5. So Mario has some covering. Actually, surprisingly, Mario and I are very close in the score that I have. I have 27-13 is what I have. 27-13. One touchdown for the Broncos, 2 field goals.
Damn, I'm somewhere kind of right there in the middle. I'm going to go 24-13. I just hate the Broncos brand of football. I think it's going to be just ugly when they have it. And when we have the ball, I think we're just going to be frustrated as well that we only got 24 points.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 24-13 as my score. Did I say 24-13 or 24-16? I apologize.
24-13.
I meant 24-16.
Okay.
24-16. They're going to have the ball at the end of the game, and they're going to say if they get it, they're going to go for 2. That's exactly what's going to happen, like in the Water Boy. So it's going to be 24-16. Let's go predictions around the AFC West. Buffalo plays at Kansas City. I'll start it off first.
Yeah.
And I think Kansas City actually wins this game just because the game's in Arrowhead. I think it's going to be a great game, just like last time, high scoring. I'm gonna go Kansas City 34-31.
34-31. Mario, you go.
Okay, so I actually disagree with you, Josh.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a Bills heyday. I think it's going to be a celebration all in Arrowhead. Bills defense is just unbelievable. First in points allowed, first in takeaways, second in opponent rushing yards. I think Mahomes is going to get overwhelmed. I think the over is going to smack and Bills are going to cover 42-24 Buffalo Bills. What was it? Help me out. Who circles the wagon? Buffalo Bills. I just completely, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Circles the
wagon.
Yeah. Is that what it is? No one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. That's it. A little bit.
Is that true? Is the Bills the team that doesn't circle the wagon? I'm not even sure. Well, okay, I know someone doesn't circle the goddamn wagon, but is it the Bills? I didn't even know. That's funny.
It is.
It is the Bills. He's right on that.
Yep.
Well, Josh knows. Josh has a bunch of friends that are Bills fans. I tell you though, I'm going Bills. Bills win this game, and Bills are favored in this game by 2.5 on the road, which is kind of crazy. But we've watched the Chiefs. I know all of us have watched every Chiefs game this year, and there are 2 wins that the Chiefs have that the Chiefs shouldn't have had. Right? The Chiefs should have lost against the Raiders on Monday. The Chiefs should have lost against the Chargers. I understand they have 1 loss, and all that matters is the win-loss record. So it doesn't, when people go close games, you can't sit there and take anything away from them. This is a good team. This Buffalo Bills team is outstanding, a matter of fact. And so when they're coming to town, I think the Chiefs' luck runs out. You aren't talking about the Raiders, who are known for making mistakes. You aren't talking about the Chargers, who are known for making mistakes. This Bills team was a team that was supposed to go further in the playoffs than they did a year ago. I think they've been thinking about this Chiefs game ever since the schedule came out and going, that's a team that we know we have to knock off to be the kings of the AFC. The 3 of us have made our predictions week after week of saying we think the Chargers are the 3rd best team in the AFC behind the Bills and the Chiefs. I think the Bills win this game, and I'm going big. I'm going the Bills win this game 45-35. How's that? 45-35.
Wow.
So I'm going.
I
tell you what, let's go in 45-38. You can change. I saw Mario, you're writing that down. 45-38. I'm going super high scoring game, but I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year. I completely expect it to be one of the best games of the year, and I'm sure Sunday Night Football has to be thinking, damn it, I know we got the Eagles and Cowboys, and the ratings are going to be through the roof, but man, the game of the week is this game. It's the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yeah. It makes me sick that they put the Cowboys and Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Mario, you have your gambling picks, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay. Let's hear it. I'm excited.
Okay, so we got you mentioned it. I like Phillies to cover. I got them at 5.5. Cowboys' luck runs out. Their defense is unbelievable, but Dallas rush defense is about as piss poor as it gets. That's a weak spot. And the Eagles are the best rushing team, 4th best rushing team in the NFL, 1st in rushing touchdowns. Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts are going to run all over them. I think they win that game, and I would keep an eye out for that under. The props haven't come out yet today, but Austin Eckler, 5 touchdowns past 2 games, and he has scored a touchdown in the past 2 games playing against the Broncos. Take him anytime touchdown scorer. Also would hammer, this sucks to say, hammer Cortland's over in receiving yards. We can't guard a freaking number 1 wideout yet. So whatever it is, I would hammer it unless it's over 80. Then if it hits 80, I would go low. But if it's anything below 80, smack the crap out of it. I'm trying to think what else I had. They had the Bills, and then Thursday Night Football. I'm sadly taking a I don't want to take it. I don't even want to watch it. But sadly, I'm going to take the Commanders tonight. Carson Wentz is 6-0 on Thursday Night Football, and I'm getting sad that I'm even taking him. But yeah, I would take him. Rookie coaches are 1-11 on Thursday Night Football too. So
That's a good step.
Okay, this is totally off the cuff. Mario, do you have your pen on? Are you ready to go with your pen?
yeah,
We're gonna go Dave fire round through all the games. No over under. No, just pick who's gonna win the game. Okay, Dave, ready?
Yeah.
All right, Washington at Chicago,
Washington,
San Francisco at Atlanta,
San Francisco.
New England at Cleveland,
Boy, I'm going Cleveland.
New York at Green Bay, Jets.
Which New York?
Jets?
Green Bay.
Sorry. Jacksonville at Indianapolis,
Indianapolis.
Minnesota at Miami,
Minnesota. Big time. Tua's not playing.
Cincinnati at New Orleans,
Cincinnati.
Baltimore at Giants,
Baltimore.
Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh,
Tampa Bay.
Carolina at the Rams.
Rams. Carolina. Oh, my goodness. No offense to Carolina, but as we're getting ready for today's show, thank God we aren't doing It's Always Football in Carolina. Oh, my gosh, man. Thank God we aren't doing Carolina Panthers.
Always crying in Carolina.
Yes,
Arizona.
Carolina.
All right. A few more. Arizona at Seattle.
Arizona.
Buffalo at Kansas City.
Buffalo, just like I said before.
Okay. Dallas at Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. I'm with Mario on this one. And
All
I
right.
take Thunder too.
I'm so curious to how you do. Okay. Because
how far? Yeah, we don't. That was fun for me, but how far off am I? Any of those that happen that you guys go, is crazy? Was there anything you completely disagree with? The Giants game, I could see you disagreeing with me on, and I know I didn't nail them all. Nobody nails them all. It doesn't work that way. But at the same time, the game that I find interesting, okay, out of all the games you just mentioned, Josh, is Miami, Minnesota. Yeah. And the reason I say that is Miami knows they stink without Tua. They are such a different team without Tua. And yet Tua has passed all the medical tests. Like if it was any other year, any other time, Tua is playing this weekend. But because everybody saw him bang his head into the ground like a basketball, people say we got to sit him out again. But he has passed every medical test. So you have a quarterback that makes a difference in wins and losses and what could possibly happen in the division. By losing again to Minnesota, they lost last week in embarrassing fashion. Anyone who has any Dolphins players was super upset on fantasy football because all of a sudden everybody disappeared without Tua. Yeah. But the Patriots, all of a sudden you could see them passing the Dolphins in the standings. The Patriots beat Cleveland this week. All of a sudden you're going, the Patriots are the Patriots and the Dolphins are the Dolphins. And this is what happens. And it's one of those, whether you want to say bad luck or not, it's just one of those things that just seems to happen to the Patriots. The Patriots benefit over someone else's mistakes all the time.
All right, Josh, should we do the same for you?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Dave, you're going to have to read them so I can write.
God dang it. I don't have it in front of me. Hold on. I thought Josh usually gives me the wrap-up sign. So hold on a second. I'll get it for you. I apologize, guys. Hold on. That's it. Unless, Josh, you want to say the games and just fire through. But I got it right here. Here we go, Josh. Washington, Chicago.
Washington.
San Francisco, Atlanta.
San Francisco.
New England, Cleveland.
New England.
Ooh.
Jets at Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Jacksonville at Indianapolis.
Jacksonville.
Ooh.
Yep.
Minnesota at Miami.
Minnesota.
Cincinnati at New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Baltimore at the Giants.
Giants.
Okay. Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh.
Tampa Bay.
Carolina at the Rams.
Rams.
Arizona at Seattle.
This is the toughest one for me. I'm going to go Arizona.
Okay. Buffalo at KC. You said KC.
KC.
Dallas at Philadelphia. We didn't get your opinion on this one.
Philadelphia.
Okay. Philadelphia. And Monday night, of course, you have Chargers taking out the Broncos.
Yeah, ass whooping. Chargers.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, Mario, you want a shot at it?
Yeah, I'll just go based off this and read them off.
Okay,
since we got both here. So I said Washington. So I'm gonna go. Actually, I should probably write and say it, and not just try to remember off the dome. Washington. So I'm gonna go Washington, and I'm actually gonna be a surprise here. My beloved Falcons with the upset for the Chargers later on. Just wait. So Falcons go right there. I'm gonna go New England next. Green Bay, disgusting. Indy, because I think Jonathan Taylor is gonna play. I'm actually gonna go Miami because I think the real Kirk Cousins is gonna show up. I'm gonna go Cincy for the next one. I'm also going to go Giants. Lamar facing old defensive coordinator. I always like going with the defensive coordinator. Tampa Bay, and then Rams, Carolina Panthers are disgusting. I'm going to go upset Seahawks. I have no idea why. I have nothing to support that. I'm just feeling it. And then, like I said, Buffalo, and then I said Philly. So here we go. We should have done this earlier. This is a great idea.
I do. I love the NFL, man. This is fantastic. This is absolutely great. That's awesome. All right. So here's the deal. Here's the schedule for the people that follow the Bolt City podcast. Even though the Chargers play on Monday, we will be doing a follow-up show on Sunday. Okay. So the games will complete. We'll knock out a show on Sunday, give you an idea of not only how we did on our picks, but also what to look forward to throughout the week. We will be on Monday right after the Chargers Broncos game as well. So we'll have post game for you, and then we'll get right back on schedule like you normally hear us. Again, we want to thank you for listening to the Bolt City podcast. Appreciate it. You can make sure you follow, make sure you give a rating, whichever way. And at the same time, you can catch us all on Twitter. And some of you guys have been extremely active. I'm sure you guys too. You've been picking up a bunch of followers, and people are making comments about the show and opinions and everything else. And that's what we want. So if we want you to interact with us on your opinions on the Chargers as we go throughout this 2022 season. Josh, you about to say something? Thought you were about to say something.
Bolt up.
Okay. So bolt up. All right. So we're going to see you guys in a couple days on Sunday night. Again, thank you for listening to the Bolt City podcast. For Josh Palet, Mario Herron, I'm Dave Palet. We'll talk to you on Sunday.